Today on the No Pillz podcast, should males with multiple babies by multiple women, meaning they have multiple baby mamas, which means there's multiple baby mama drama, they're liars, they're cheats, they're unfaithful, they're deadbeats, they're not fathers, do they have the nerve, the audacity to be telling women that they're delusional? And should they be out there in the dating marketplace, should they just sit down for a minute and take 5? Let's get into it today. You're now listening to the No Pillz podcast, your best resource for cultivating meaningful, healthy, long-lasting, romantic relationships that bloom into strong marriages. Welcome to No Pillz. Welcome to No Pillz. That's with a Z if you couldn't tell. Ha ha! Love. Fully scripted. We back, beloved. Your man, G-Man, Brother Gordon, let's get it. No blue pills, no red pills, just that pill of truth because we need it. All right, friends, listen, I'm fed up, man. I'm semi-circling back some of these men online in 2024. Whew. I'm here to help. I'm here to help, man. This is not just frustration on my part. I'm legit here to help, and that's what I want to do. I just don't know if the level of hypocrisy, is even in a suitable, understandable place for me. I'm trying to make sense of it all. But before I just peel back some of those hypocritical thought statements, ideologies, I want to just not overlook the reality of men's mental health, all right? So recent studies indicated that a significant number of men in the United States report feelings of loneliness. Now, I do think that these feelings of loneliness are being taken advantage of, but a 2021 survey by the American Psychological Association found that about 63% of men reported feeling lonely at some point. Another survey from Cigna noted that nearly 50% of men stated they felt lonely, with younger men ages 18 to 24 reporting higher levels of loneliness. I think this has been in the media for a while. There's been discussions about this for a while. Men's health, I think it's a men's day, right? A mental health day, etc. Men, I think, did we get a month? I think we might be a month. I think there's some conflict there with who has the month. But it's not looking good. So I don't want to not bring that into the equation, or at least not recognize that, mention that during this podcast. I don't want to just seem cruel, insensitive, or not aware of that young men are feeling lonely out there. With all this supposed connectivity we have online, all these pleasures here in North America anyway, access to resources, we're still not feeling all that well. In the United States, approximately 47,000 men die by suicide each year. They unalive themselves. That's about 3/4 of all suicide deaths in the country. While women are only unaliving themselves at a rate of 15,000 women each year. So 47,000 cases for men each year and 15,000 cases of women each year when it comes to suicide. None of that sounds good. None of that makes you feel good, but that is the reality in which we are in. Is it that hard to find a mate? Is it hard to find someone to court this day and age, someone to get to know? How difficult is it really? Well, here's an interesting fact for you. Some recent surveys and estimates say that globally, the sex ratio is approximately 102 men for every 100 women. So at a global level, there's slightly more men to women, But in the United States, it's the reverse. There's 102 women for every 100 men. So our odds are slightly better. Now, of course, there's a lot you have to factor out as far as maybe your type, religion, faith, mental health, etc. So these numbers may not be as great as they may seem on paper. I'll say this from my own personal experience. In the circles that I'm in, I'm a man of faith, and a lot of my community comes from my church and my faith-based community that I'm involved in. And I lost my wife a little over 3 years ago, as many of you know, to cancer. She was 37 years old when she passed, so I'm not a super, super old man, depending on who you ask today. But I have not found it extremely difficult to have interactions with females of the opposite sex, even in the face of my religious faith and practice. I think since my wife has passed, there has been a few opportunities to get to know a few nice young women. So I personally am not struggling, I think, if I had to say so, with finding someone. I think if I were foolish enough to even go outside of my religious faith and practice, which would be crazy, I think there's still some just relationships, just, being able to speak to people. Now, I say this, I'm slightly extroverted, I think, compared to other people, other men maybe, 'cause speaking about men right now. And I don't know the number, the ratio of that, like how many of us are extroverted or not, but I don't have a problem saying hello to people. But here's the thing. There are a lot of women, though, that have crossed my path and I've crossed there where there has been no opportunity, or we would not necessarily have it would make sense for us to have discussion, right? So while I'm saying, like, yes, I've had some opportunities, but not every female that I've run into is an opportunity or is a possible match or potential match, or I'm a potential suitor for them. So not every, especially let's say every attractive, that's how we usually go, right? We usually lean towards people who are attractive. Not every attractive female I have come across has been someone that I've been able to talk to or would want to talk to or get to know or have a discussion with. But I think not being afraid to just meet people and say hello sometimes can be a big part of it. And also knowing when and where, right? Understanding that everybody's in different places and not everybody wants to be spoken to all the time. And some people are on a rush and they're in a rush, and females are hit on a lot more and spoken to, I think, a lot more than men are. Another thing to factor in. So discernment is what I'm saying. You need some discernment there. Men, I'm talking to you, my young guys out there, old guys out there, just men in general, just single men. Okay, single men is who I'm talking to. Talking to single men. Okay, only single men. All right, widowed, single, yeah. I'm not talking to the married men. So let's be clear. Okay, I'm back on track right now. But nevertheless, I say all that with me not even being in the place where I'm really, really looking to be with anybody, open to the idea. I've never known what God's will and plan is for your life, but I'm not on this massive hunt. And I think I can understand the loneliness part. I mean, the females and men that I do know in my life that are single would probably say the same thing. There's always some component, I think, of loneliness or feeling lonely, or just recognizing that you are alone, especially if you have been married in the past and now your widow was in a long-term relationship and that fell apart, whatever your backdrop is. There are maybe some things that will have you recognize your loneliness. And then also, too, I think if you're around people who are in relationships and you're not, or you're in communities where there's a lot of relationships, or you're online and you're seeing a lot of people in relationships, that could amplify, intensify you coming home to your empty apartment or your empty house. But my faith journey, friends, is a big part of my sanity too. Praying, reading, studying, having responsibilities, at church, this ministry, this being involved in ministry, this podcast, an extension and a part of that ministry. These things all keep me busy and pretty occupied. So that helps, I think, too, to not just be sitting quietly for hours at a time, being lonely. And when we all go to work and do what we got to do when we come home. So making the point, too, to get out, man, into nature, take some walks, get out, go to get on some trails, go to some parks, meet some people. I would like to do that more. I'm behind the camera a lot, online a lot. But you want to make friends, you must show yourself friendly. I think there's also been a sentiment in recent years that you just can't meet people in person anymore, so do you got to meet them online? That's not everybody. People are still meeting in person, but you need to be in places to actually meet people. So, as I've said this before on probably a few podcasts, if you're in the arts, you probably be in art galleries. You're in the church, you probably be at church. You'd be at church events, social events, these type of things, where you could actually find yourself around people of the opposite sex who may have similar interests is what you want to do. So I don't think it's impossible or impossibility to find someone to potentially be involved with. But let me also say this too. What you do for work could be a huge factor. The hours you put in. A lot of times, if you're working 40 plus 60 hours a week, you're probably limiting yourself to only finding someone at your job, at your workplace. If you're on the road as a truck driver, that could be extremely difficult. And a lot of times those relationships suffer because of how much you're on the road. So you may have to be willing to make some potential big life change or sacrifices to be able to meet somebody. Maybe it'll be long distance versus short, because of your lifestyle. So factor in your lifestyle, let alone your personality type and where you are and who you are around. The saying, closed mouths don't get fed. So you keep to yourself, you will be by yourself. You keep to yourself, you will be by yourself. Now, here's what's not going to help you. Gentlemen, let's get talking. We've delved into your mental health a little bit, spoken about how difficult it is to find a woman, a wife. Blaming women for everything is not going to help you, okay? Just going to keep it real with you, okay? Being adversarial to the opposite sex, gentlemen, is probably not going to land you a wife. You know what I mean? Now, we know from the statistics, okay, and I'm speaking to my to the brothers out there who are guzzling down the red pill ideologies in particular. Blue pills no better. Covered that episode ago or two. Most divorces are filed by women, okay? And a lot of times men want to blame women for those divorces. It's their fault. I would like to flip that on its head. I would like to say as a man, you have a big role and play a big role and should take some of that responsibility because you chose that woman to marry and to impregnate. Facts, right? That is what happened. And I think a lot of times we have that Samson dilemma. You remember that Samson, he wanted to not find a woman amongst his people, but he wanted to go down to Timnath. Yes. And he wanted to date the daughters of the Philistines. You remember. And his father and his mother said unto him, is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren or among all my people that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. Samson was a man that was led by his eyes, gentlemen. And in irony and almost in mercy, his eyes eventually got put out before he died. The very thing that caused him to stumble and caused him so much pain that he ran into the arms of Delilah. Listen, friends, we're going to peel this back right now. Gentlemen, this is so crazy. This was written so long ago before our time, and yet men, we still have the same problems, still have the same mind and behave the same way as Samson. His heart was being led by his eyes. And he goes to, and he marries He aligns himself with the OnlyFans girl of the day, with the stripper of the day, the prostitute of the day. He finds himself in bed with Delilah. And if you ask yourself, well, man, whose fault was it that Samson's eyes got plucked out? That he was taken captive by his enemies, telling all his secrets, pillow talking to Delilah. He was the problem. He was the one who didn't want to do it God's way, didn't want to take the advice and insight of his parents. So he went searching after the attractive, beautiful women that pleased him well, and it brought all type of hurt and harm in his life into himself. So I just want to put some onus, some responsibility when it comes to these divorces back in the laps of men. And if we're out here cheating, oh boy, on our wives, committing adultery, let us not play dumb when we're getting served with divorce papers. Let's keep it real, okay? So I want you to think about this. Now, this figure encompasses women who are unmarried, divorced, and widowed. 13 million doesn't sound too bad. Maybe there's some hope for you. But we have to be in our roles. We have to be playing our roles. We need to be in position. Our selection process has to be better, be more fine-tuned. We have to be patient, consistent, and most importantly, we have to be in the place to be husbands, to be leaders. 1 Corinthians 11 verse 3 says, "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of every woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God." Now, what men like to do in the manosphere and in overly masculine podcasts and spaces online, we like to focus on the head of the woman is the man. Woman, be quiet. Hush your mouth. I am speaking. The man is speaking, woman. Submit. Surrender. Get right. Act like you know. But we leave out the head of every man is Christ. Now, what does that look like practically? Come on. If Christ is your head, men, especially those men that quote this passage of scripture, especially men that want to be traditional, semi-traditional, and set this before women, that they need to, surrender, submit. You need to be the head. Is Christ the head of your life? Let's talk about it practically. What does that look like? Are you obeying Christ? In order to obey Christ, you must be reading the Bible, and you must be living your life in accordance with the Bible. So you want a woman to submit to you. You want to be the head of a woman, but you want to be sleeping around with everybody, not going to work. You want to be lusting with your eyes if you're not physically cheating, not going to work. Christ taught to look at a woman lustfully. You have already committed adultery with her in your heart. Job made a covenant with his eyes that he would not even gaze upon a virgin or a maid. If you're the head of your wife, is Christ the head of you, is what I'm saying to you. If Christ is your head, you're not consuming pornography. If Christ is your head, you're not consuming alcohol, weed, drugs, because your mind is given over to Christ fully. The scripture says, be sober. Yeah. If Christ is your head, though you may feel lonely, we have these high percentages of young men feeling lonely. We're never alone. Jesus is our example. Christ was forsaken. John the Baptist was in the prison alone. God's people, God's men, his patriarchs and his prophets oftentimes were led or driven into seclusion. But yet they were not alone, because Jesus said, I shall never leave thee nor forsake thee. I will always be with you. If you are on the mountaintop, I am there. If you are in the valley, I am there. If you are in the grave, I am there. We are never alone, men. If you are a follower of Christ, you are not a fornicator. You are not having sex outside of marriage. If Christ is your head, you want to be the head of the woman, right? If you want to be the head of the woman, Christ must be the head of you. If Christ is your head, you are not courting women that are not suitable to be the wife, to be your wife and the mother of your children. If Christ is your head, if Christ is the head of you, You're not dating, you're courting. You are getting to know a young lady with the intention and purpose of marrying her, not leading her along, not dragging her along to nowhere. If Christ is your head, then you're not going to lay seed in some woman, some daughter of the king who is not fit, feminine, and friendly. If Christ is your head, you understand your value, you understand her potential value, and you're able with the word of God to filter and filter through women, potential spouses, and identify that Proverbs 31 woman. Because you are a man who is surrendered to Christ, surrendered to God in heart, in thought, in practice. It's not just hypocritical lip service. Men online, they quote scripture and quote philosophy and religious texts and books, and yet they will openly be in fornication and lying, and it's what? It puzzles my brain that anyone would follow any of this advice. As far as what is being modeled in the lifestyle, you won't be rich forever if you are rich. In a temporal sense, you will die. And none of it will go with you into the grave. You can make no use of it to where you're going. But if you get sick and you can't take care of yourself, boy, it'll be really nice if you had somebody that loved you and could be by your deathbed with you, could be with you in sickness and health, friends. Come on, men, I'm talking to you. Ladies, I'm talking to you too. We're so selfish and we forget that we can get sick and die. We forget that beauty fades, that posts and likes, subscribers, all that can fade away. As quick as you can gain some notoriety in this life, it can be taken from you. I think about Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. I would think they were in a pretty healthy competitive relationship, those two. And yet the competition went away to some degree. Steve Jobs is no longer here. Bill Gates continues on. And I would think that part of his enjoyment of life even went away when his top competitor dies. It's like, man, did you really win? Or did you get the easy, you know what I mean? Like, did I really have the victory? Did I really, he just died before me. So friends, we need to appreciate and realize what the value of relationships really are and what they really mean. You're living in the time and place we all are where relationships are being devalued. I mean, devalued down to like nothing almost, where it's just like, I'll just trade you out. I'll just swap you out. And I don't think this is, necessarily in the masses, but with divorce rates being about 50%, maybe it's half of us are just being confused and buying into the lie that you'll never find love, you can't be in love, you shouldn't be in love, don't trust anybody, get involved in the war of the sexes with me. I pray you're smarter than that, friend. Man, I pray you're smarter than that. We have been called to be priests, spiritual leaders of our homes. Let's talk about that now. You want to be the head, huh? All right, the head of what? I want to be the head of my wife. Well, okay, that means you want to be the priest. That means you are the priest, the spiritual leader of your home. And let me show you what that looks like. So before you go listen to the Andrew Tates of the world and every other person out there that presents a masculine persona, the James Bonds of online foolishness. Let's go back to the owner's manual and see what a spiritual man looks like. One who desires the role of an elder. It says, and a bishop or an elder then must be blameless, the husband of one wife. He must be vigilant. He must be sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, not given to wine, nor striker, nor greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous, one that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, How shall he take care of the church of God? 1 Timothy 3, verses 2 through 5. Friends, how can someone be online giving you advice about being a man when their own household is not in order, when they're not being a man themselves? How can you give me advice on being a man when you are with someone out of wedlock, when you have children out of wedlock, when you're not trying to marry anybody or any of the women that you're with now? How can you give me good advice? If your children are misbehaving out of control, a lot of times I hear this online from men, like they put the behavior of the children somehow falls to the mother, or the mother's raising them, blah, blah, blah. No, one that ruleth his own house, having his children. Newsflash, men, these are your kids. These are your children, men. Having his children in subjection with all but we online giving young men advice. We ain't never seen your kids. We don't know if your kids behave good. We don't know if your kids are. And then let me give you advice. And I'm married to, we don't even know you dating and sleeping with known whole sex workers, known sex workers, loosey-gooseys. They running around naked. And it's like, what are you modeling for us? All your lifestyle is hidden and there's no transparency. Where's your advice for me? Friends, I was married almost 20 years. Like I put in work I did this thing. It is not easy. It was not easy, friends. Not easy at all. I was 22 when I got married. Like when I'm talking to you, this is from a place of experience and what works. What worked for me. And it was God. It was God in trying to live and surrender to his principles because his ways are better and higher than my ways. Just think about it. If a man doesn't have his own house in control, if his own family's not happy, if his wife is not, listen, let me tell you something. If you want to find out if someone's really who they say they are, you need to interview their family. We need to talk to your kids. We need to talk to your baby mama. She should be your wife. Have mercy. Let's talk to them. See if they feel respected. Let's really talk to them. Like unplug the mics. Let's get it should be your wife, but it's not how it be with these so-called relationship gurus. Let's talk to these women that you have in your circle and ask them, do they respect you? Do they love you? Do they enjoy being cheated on by you? Friends, if you want, welcome to No Pillz. Dig me? Welcome to No Pillz. Yeah. This is the pure, unadulterated truth. This is common sense, a lot of this. If you don't have your own life together, you can't tell me how to get my life together. If your relationships are not in order in your own life, you don't get along with your family, don't get along with what you going to tell me about any of that? If your spouse is not happy, how you going to tell me how to make my spouse happy? It's funny who we elevate to who we put our trust in. Now, the persons online that have been married, happily married, in a good relationship, blah, blah, they'll get no traction online. They doing too good. They don't have any flashy cars. They don't have any expensive watches. They don't have multiple women around them, breast out, body out. We don't want to talk to them. But to the modest, meek, and lowly husband, wife that's out there getting the grind done, the blue collar, faithful, enjoying life, enjoying each other. No, they don't go viral all that frequently. What goes viral is the drama. People like to see a relationship get built up, and then they like to see it fall apart. They'll tune in to watch that. That's the drama they like. They don't really want to see you succeed. You know what I mean? They want you to succeed a little bit, but they enjoy your pain. I think one of the clearest evidences of that, what was that artist's name? Amy Winehouse, dying from drug and substance abuse. Her father gets on with national television and makes a plea, please stop buying her album so she can stop making money so she can go get clean. Nah, man. The fans, the world, the internet, they like to be entertained. At your own hurt and at your own demise, they'll watch you burn. They'll watch you set yourself on fire and pop some popcorn as you turn into ashes. It's the human mind, man. It's the human construct. It's terrible. Here is a strange idea for my men out there. How about we lead by example? You want to be the head of something? You want to be the head of your wife? You want to be the leader of your home? That means you lead by example. If you want discipline in your family, you must be disciplined. You want sacrifice in your family? You must be sacrificial. Come on. You want modesty? You want people to be fit and clean and healthy? You must be that way. That's what it means to be a leader, because Christ left the example. If he's the head of the man, then we can do everything that Christ did. And if we're doing everything that Christ did, then our wives can safely do what we're doing. They can imitate the pattern as we imitate the pattern. And we come together, come on, male and female, created he, them in the image of God, created them, he, them. Together in that type of sacrificial love, self-sacrificing love, we are reproducing the image of God on earth. But some of us men are deadbeats. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about being deadbeat men, okay? You out there, you done got some young lady pregnant and you left to go get some other young lady pregnant, leaving these women alone to raise these children, to raise your children alone, deadbeat. I can't respect that. I don't respect that. As men, we shouldn't respect that. You got a homeboy like this, you need to check him. Like, fam, how many more babies you gonna have, beloved? But how many more women that you not around for, that you not present for? Where we doing this at? Well, how is this acceptable? I'm talking to men today, friends. A lot of talk online about women and how they 304s and they're hoes and they're this and they're that. And some of them are, like, it's what it is. But some of us is selecting them and then want to boo-hoo about it and cry about it. But you're a deadbeat. We choose addiction over family, porn addiction over our family, alcohol addiction over our family, substance abuse over our families. Is that manly? Is that being a man? Becoming an alcoholic? Becoming a drug addict? Is that manly? Not being able to provide for your family? Provider, friends. 1 Timothy 5, verse 8. But if any provide not for his own. Some men don't want to work. Don't want to get up and go to work and provide for the family, some men. But if any provide not for his own, meaning his own family, and especially for those of his own house. So you got your cousins, your mama, your distant relatives, then those of your own house. He have denied the faith. Now we're talking about supposed Christian men. Have denied the faith and is worse than an infidel for not being a provider. Friends, this is heavy. Brethren, striving to be a man, this is heavy. Okay? So the real model, one wife. Real model, provider. Christ loved, come on, the church so much that he gave his life for it. A man is to love his wife, to give his life for her. His family, to lay down his life for them. Now, beloved, let me say something to you men. There's no way I'm going to marry a woman who does not appreciate that. There's no way I'm going to court a woman who does not appreciate the fact that I am called to and I am going to lay down my life for her and the children. If she can't respect that, can't get into that because of maybe her third, fourth wave of feminists and hot, keep it moving. I don't need you, don't need that type of energy in my life, right? I'm not even saying I need to be celebrated, but man, respected, appreciated for what I am bringing to the family, provision in my life. Some of you men, you'll be with the woman who doesn't respect you, doesn't care that you're going to die with them because they're pretty enough for you. Good for you. You're getting exactly what you deserve. I don't feel bad for you. I do not feel bad for you. I do not feel bad for you if you are getting disrespected, not respected, not loved because you are dating someone based upon their beauty standards and beauty qualities alone. And in 2020, a lot of this stuff be fake anyway. I don't know if you want a trophy wife. What good is a trophy? Listen, what good is a trophy wife that don't love you, friends? Come on, man, let me talk to you. Who don't care if you live or die. Who's only with you for the bag. Maybe the quote unquote ugly girl's the move, gentlemen. Just saying, got to check ourselves. Let's talk about being a father, because some of us don't know what that looks like. I think some of us think that just, hey man, because I got somebody pregnant that, I qualify now. Happy Father's Day to me. Let me ask you a question, friends. Can you really be a father to multiple children in multiple homes in multiple locations? Come on, really ask yourself, can you really give those babies, your babies, the attention and the protection that they need? How you going to protect your child if they're in another state, another zip code, from a burglar, from somebody bullying them, from, like, how? How can you protect them if you're away? How can you bear influence over them? And I know this stings because there's so many of us, and I can hear the responses already in my comment section. It's not my fault. It's the mother fault. She don't want to let me. Yo, man, you chose her, bro. Broski, my brother, you chose her. You chose her. You decided to be with her. Don't forget that. She wasn't your only option. Samson, this is what you wanted. You wanted Delilah, and you got just what you was looking for. Are you a father? Come on. Any fool, any male, any man can have a baby, but it takes a father, come on, to raise a child, right? Accountability, men. Let's talk about accountability. I think sometimes we think we have this default accountability in today's society because we have to fight and work to have any form of status and cars and to be respected and to be seen of other men and blah, 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 blah. Cry me a river. The accountability I'm talking about is us letting men in our circles know, hey, man, you need to be faithful to your wife. You need to get off the drugs. You need to get off the alcohol. You can do better for yourself and for your family. You need to get off the pornography. You need to get from out of the strip club. We need that type of accountability between men. You can do better. You are better. Right, King? Right, King? Those who drink the alcohol forget the law. Right, King? Alcohol is not for princes. Alcohol is not for kings. Right? The accountability that says, hey, man, your body, your fleshly desires need to be in subjection to the mind of Christ. Right? Because God is our head. Right, King? We ought to obey the king, yes. We also ought to behave ourselves like the royalty that we claim to be. Uncles, teachers, coaches. We may have to get it from somewhere else sometimes, maybe, if we have a father that's deceased or locked up. Listen, man, one of your boys is locked up in jail. You let him know, man. He got kids out here on the outside and the family. He don't need to go back in there. And that you not high-fiving him or telling him he did something thorough because he got himself locked up, incarcerated. Now he's in the penitentiary. You got babies out here that nobody should be taking care of except you. And you can't do that as long as you locked up. This is the type of accountability we need. You got somebody in your family, a brother, somebody you say you love, and they gang banging as man to man. You need to let them know that that's not G. That's not the move. You got babies that need you to be here. Blood, what up, cuz? You got babies here depending on you that we don't want to take care of, that you've laid down and had, that you need to be the father for them and be a better example. Where's this type of accountability? You're not going to find it in the music. Not going to find it in the videos. As you can see, I'm melanated, friends. Being all this pro-black this, woo-woo this, all the culture this. The culture is terrible. The culture is terrible. It's toxic. It's demasculine. It's poisonous. It's turning our daughters into women of the night, sex workers, and it's turning our men, or encouraging on both sides our young men to be gang members and killers and thugs. Keep this culture. Listen, friends, this is why I'm a part of that heavenly culture, New Jerusalem, that's from above, not from this culture down here that's from beneath. Y'all can say that for somebody else. All this, pro this, be pro blah, blah, blah. Then it's like, yeah, even the people that, Lord, that are running around married within your ethnicity, boom, boom. They don't be married within the ethnicity. They don't be married at all. It's like, how you gonna tell us what to do and you're not even widowed? You just not, it didn't work out. Yeah, I'm on my third, fourth failed marriage. What you telling us about anything? Like, for real. I'm not saying you cannot glean any wisdom. I'm not saying that puts you completely out of the arena of being able to give counsel, advice, etc. But just, we're the people who have been successful. You know, like in practice, usually you want to become a millionaire, you probably should be around millionaires. You probably should be speaking to millionaires. Just saying. Accountability. We need real accountability. Okay? It would be nice. It would be nice, friends, if we could be more, if there could be more actual, real men with godly values online who have integrity, who are consistent with what they believe because it bleeds and they practice it in their own lives. I wish there were more men like this online. Because here's why. We need mentorship. Okay? Let's speak about mentorship. We need mentorship, and we need mentors from men that are not saturated in poisonous cultures that are genocidal in nature, that are telling you to drink, smoke, sleep around, be promiscuous, rob, steal, and kill. We don't need that, beloved. We need to distance ourselves from those type of ideologies and that type of mentality and mindsets, where everything's about shaking your behind and having our women being naked and calling them out of their names. And this has transcended all culture. It's wild. Like we need mentors, okay, online that are not red pill, not blue pill, okay, that actually practice what they preach. We need real mentors. Men are lonely. They're self-deleting. There's mental health issues. We need non-hypocritical mentors that are not sleeping around with promiscuous women and then telling everyone else, oh, don't do that, but they're doing it. We need mentors that are not getting on women about makeup and all that. Okay, cool. But they themselves are doing cosmetic surgery themselves now. They've got hair implants. They're breaking their legs to be taller. They're putting in shoe inserts and then gonna yap about females in their delusions and in their deceptions and their catfishing. I guess that old saying, if you can't beat them, join them. I guess we're doing that now. We need mentors that are not going to go out here and tell young virgin men or non-virgin men alike they need to sleep with 50 plus women before they get married. Yeah, that's crazy. You know, if I'm promoting a philosophy to you, if I'm promoting an ideology to you, if I'm giving you truth, right? I'm not going to tell you have to hide that truth from someone that you're trying to court or marry, right? Anything that I share with you here on No Pillz is biblical. You can share if the spouse, the female likes it, or the potential spouse likes it or does not like it, so what? It's on them. But when you're in a space that's telling you, like in the red pill space, yeah, hide that you're watching and learning red pill material from your girlfriend because you gotta trap her first. You know, she doesn't need to know that you're learning how to be a man. First of all, men should be taught, boys should be taught how to be men's. And had the fathers been in the household, that's where we would have got it from first. But if they're not in the household, you need to go out there and pick it up along the way, and you want to get good advice and get it done correctly. So any woman who's not going to respect that you're trying to better yourself and trying to grow into being a man and understand what it is to be a man, so you could be the leader, the head of the household that the family you want to produce with her, she should respect that. There's nothing we should be doing as men that we have to hide. Nothing we should be learning, no practices we should be doing, because we should be upright individuals. We're men. We should be honest, transparent. We're men. We should be doing right. We shouldn't have to hide and run around in the darkness. But we're children of light. Come on, man. Talk to me. Mentorship, friends. It is a relationship in which a more experienced or knowledgeable person, the mentor, provides guidance, support, and advice to a less experienced individual, the mentee. This relationship can help the mentee develop skills, gain insights, and navigate challenges in personal and professional contexts. Mentorship can occur in various fields, including education, business, and personal development, and may I even say, the home. The home. Maybe the church. Maybe a coach. Maybe some older guy you met at the gym, some older successful guy you've met who's been married 50, 60 years. You want to pull up Open up your ear. Take some time with them. Slow down. Figure out how to do it. Become financially equipped, educated. And if all else fails, if you're like myself and you didn't have the consistent, strong male father relationship and mentorship in your life, I didn't have that, friends. I didn't have that. I had a father who was taken by addiction, who chose addiction over the family. I looked to Jesus. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not lying to you. What I've really learned about being a man, I've gotten from Scripture. And as I test what I've learned from Scripture with what I see being promoted and taught by men, quote unquote, online, I quickly see him like, man, that's not how God is. God became a man. This is not how God is. When he created Adam as a man, like this, I have the pattern now, the perfect pattern that allows me to filter through all the nonsense and all the hoopla. And so while that model, that mentor was absent in my life to a greater degree, praise God, I was able to pick it up in the life, in the person of Christ. I'm Gordon McGee. This is the No Pillz podcast, Love Fully Scripted. I'm signing off, and I'll catch you next week.